Good morning. If you are wondering how to track more business and have a more fulfilling life, today we're going to break down 4 simple ways to do that. I think a lot of people get stuck in the mud, just in the different things that they have to do when they're in business or getting into business and developing a skill set. Right now, I am on Clubhouse in Breakfast with Champions, and I just listened to my boy Ram Castillo builds life by design and really thinks by design. And he was extrapolating how discovering your minimal viable product before you just go out there and start marketing could be a great way to enter a marketplace versus just creating a landing page and just hoping for the best. Made me think about this segment. I'm like, well, how can I give value to people that are looking to, attract more business and just have a better life? And I'm like, well, I know some pretty cool people. And one of the cool people that I know, I actually met on this application. And one of these cool people that I met, I'm going to introduce you to, and I'm going to break down a segment that we did with him talking about mindset and how he got to being a billion-dollar broker in a very short period of time, from selling Cutco knives to selling some of the most beautiful homes in Silicon Valley. And some of his answers may actually surprise you, and it might be more simple than you think. If you've never met me before, this channel, we talk all things real estate and media, but truthfully, it's just a place where I share a lot of the things that were shared with me to get people to the next level. Thank you, everybody that came over from the Clubhouse room. Just hit that subscription button because we're dropping these videos once a week. That consistency of what I need to focus on that Clubhouse has given me is the reason why I'm pumping these videos out every single Friday. Good morning, Kate Volman. Good morning, Tora Marie, Scott K. Nice to see all of you on the stream. And if you're in the Clubhouse room, you can scroll to the top and you can hit the little link button and you can join us on YouTube. And YouTube, make sure you download Clubhouse and you jump over to Breakfast with Champions. It keeps me going. And I see you, Siga, and I see you, Janice Jensen. You are awesome. You are very, very consistent people. So I'm going to share my screen, but I'm going to be cognizant that I'm on Clubhouse and I have an earpod in. So I'm going to make sure this is an interactive segment, both audio and visually, every single week when I do these segments. Sorry, give me 1 second. It's not actually letting me share my screen for some reason. One moment. This is what happens with technology sometimes. Okay, it's not actually letting me share my screen. So this is the first time this has ever happened. Thank you, StreamYard, for that. I'm going to see if I can share the other screen. Just bear with me 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm actually going to log. Well, I don't think I can log out and log back in. This is the first time this has ever happened on StreamYard, but I'm going to walk you guys through it audibly, and you can look at my face if we're on StreamYard. You can still jump in the chat. I see Monica Ricci. By all means, I'm actually going to be watching the chat at the same time. I'll trim this portion of the video and after so I can see the takeaways and get the comments at the same time. And I do have a slide deck that I will send out. So if you go to justinkonikow.com/resources, I don't sell any courses. I can't do any coaching. I have no time, but I do send the slide decks out for free after I do the presentations because I want you to literally print it off, talk about it with your business partners, your spouse, and kind of break down the concepts and then come back to me and tell me what you got. Good morning, global digital marketers. I see you as well too. And Peter Ong, what's up? So 4 ways to make sure you're attracting more in life and businesses. We're going to do this fully audibly, which is going to be awesome because we're so used to the audio platforms. And the first step is going to be explaining to you who the gentleman that I'm speaking about is. So Andy Tse is a very interesting character. Runs the Tse Group in Silicon Valley, floating around Clubhouse all the time, and was one of those guys in the beginning of Clubhouse that when he would speak, you almost had to start looking him up to be like, well, is this guy real? Because you had a lot of people on Clubhouse saying that they were accomplishing a lot of very big things, but when you started digging into them, you saw that there was no wizard behind the curtain, right? Like really what people were putting forth wasn't in actuality what they did. And I think we're in a space and a time where a lot of people can claim to be coaches and build communities very, very quickly with no actual substance behind them. I started looking at Andy Tse. I started seeing that he's the real deal. He is a gentleman that is doing the thing and is in Silicon Valley and selling some of the most expensive homes on the planet. But what I noticed about him was he had a very simple mindset around the business. And in my business, especially today, everybody in real estate thinks they need to worry more about creating their next TikTok than they do learning the actual skill set of real estate because they see selling sunset. They see other people going viral on Instagram and TikTok and social media. And yes, content production is important. I focus on real estate and marketing, right? That is kind of my jam. So I got to create content. That's something you can't do. But I look at a guy like Andy and I'm like, well, we clicked on his Instagram profile early on in Clubhouse. Guy had no posts. We actually made a little game out of it and we got him 1,000 followers without a single post. And he said, I will post one post if you get me to 1,000 followers. I just checked his profile because I was going to share it with you guys. So go see him on Instagram and let's get that count up. He's almost at 2,000 followers and the guy hasn't posted anything since that original post. So there's an indication that, posting on social media isn't necessarily absolutely critical if you're somebody like Andy. But then we started asking Andy, like, what do you actually do then? If you're not worried about posting on social media and you're not worried about content production to generate business, which seems to be the trend in our industry, what are you actually doing? He's like, open houses. And I'm meeting people and I'm making sure that they're really well qualified and they're prepared to buy right now. So for the consumers out there, when you're working with a real estate agent, depending on when you call them, a lot of times they're trying to ascertain, like, are you looking to buy or sell right now? 6 to 9 months, a year to 2 years from now, and then they're going to get you in their database and they're going to nurture you and provide you value and hopefully develop a relationship so that they can do business in like 6 to 9 months. And Andy wasn't in that mindset, completely different. He was like, well, no, are you ready to transact right now? Because I'm busy enough that all of my focus has to be focused on my clients that are ready to do something right now, a buy or a sell. And that triggered something to me for this conversation of, how are you thinking about your business? How is your mindset when it comes to your consumers? Because in our industry, here's the reality. If you're a consumer, I bet you think agents are a dime a dozen because they are. Our industry kind of did it to ourselves. But if you're in a position like somebody like Andy, well, now you're in a position where consumers are the same as agents, right? Like there's a lot of consumers out there that you could be chasing and working with, and they could be a dime a dozen, just like agents. But there's also consumers that are ready to transact and work with right now. There are ultra high value, just like if you're a consumer, there are agents out there that are ultra high value as well. And truthfully, the people you want to work with aren't the ones that are thirsty for your business and will tell you anything just to work with you and get you to sign a contract. The ones you want to work with are the ones that are uber professional and can call their shots, really, right? And are in a position where they have such an expertise in what they do that they can demand a level of quality from the clients they're working with, and their clients can demand a level of quality from them. So that was the first thing that really got my attention with Andy. Was he kept it really, really simple. He was doing like 6 open houses a weekend and just making sure he was working with people that were looking to transact. Now, since I met Andy on Clubhouse, I consider him a brother now in arms. We spent a lot of time chopping it up on a lot of different ideas. I had him on the Prime People podcast, which was amazing. And actually one of the coolest things about Andy that a lot of people don't know is the philanthropy that he does is more important to him than anything. If you actually go to that episode of Prime People and you go to the end of the episode, I ask him, like, why are you doing all this? Right? Because we can make a lot of money, but what's the point? And he broke down Castle, the children's court services nonprofit he works with, where he mentors young children that are in really, really difficult situations and maybe won't ever have a leg up on life. And he talked about the legacy and the impact of what he's going to leave behind through that. So that should give you an idea of the man's character. People hear $1 billion broker and they get really distracted with all the fanciness and everything. That should be a good leading indicator, a good lagging indicator of his success, but a leading indicator of his success is more what he's actually doing on right now. He talked about mindset in the episode as well. So I'm going to start breaking down some of the principles, but the mindset kind of overarching principle is an important one. He indicated that if you don't have the right mindset, you won't get far. You can have all the talent and skills in the world, but if you're not in the right headspace, it's not going to work out. And there's 3 things that you need to do to actually establish the proper mindset to start attracting the right business into your life. And first, you got to change your perspective. Second, you got to think big picture. And then lastly, you want to develop a winning attitude. Like relentless positivity. Even Andy, myself, I bet you tons of people that are on the stage right now experience adversity and failure all the time. But a winning attitude can change everything. Say adversity happens in your life and you have a team member that comes to you with a problem within your organization that you can fix, and it's complex, but you take it in a very negative way because it's not exactly how you wanted to be served the information. Your attitude can determine the outcome from that point on. You can take that piece of information, you can implement it and potentially grow an even larger organization or fix a hole in the boat that's going to stop it from sinking. Or you can just shut your eyes, indicate that, the way you do things is how you're going to do it. You're not going to apologize for any changes that you're going to make, and you're just going to forge forward. There's two different attitudes that you can have in those types of situations. So which attitude are you going to have? There's a winning attitude and there's a losing attitude at all. And he also indicated that when people hear mindset, they often think that changing their thoughts or attitude, which is definitely part of it, but there's so much more than that. Most people never bother to look into the deeper meaning and just accept what society tells them, which is mainly due to a weak mindset. This was such a key point in our interview that we did on Clubhouse. And he was talking about how people just tell you what's possible as if they have all the answers. You can't accomplish more than they're telling you. It's great to know that there's a blueprint in place for success. It's great to look at other businesses and model what they are doing, but you should be looking for indicators beyond what's possible and having a wider, stronger mindset than the industry's telling you. Real estate, you keep going back to this because I know this industry like the back of my hand. I got in the business, and in real estate, the first thing I was told is call or DM and call all of your friends on Facebook, tell them that you're in real estate and do they know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate? I called 3 people and they all kind of chirped me and were tongue in cheek about it, being like, yeah, Justin, like you've never talked to me like this before. Like whatever. We ended up having a nice little banter about it. I realized that's not how I want to approach this business, right? I want to do it differently because agents doing the same thing all the time just become ubiquitous, posting the same market update, the same boring information. Like it's just not going to attract the right consumers. So I started swimming towards the blue ocean. And then recently I've noticed trends in my industry where everybody seems to be going towards the same model, and we are shifting even further the other way. We're doing a vlog and we're going to launch it next week all around the perfect day and how we structure our day and whatnot. And in that vlog, we talk about our team structure. And then I actually started getting rid of the word team. I bet you if you're a consumer or somebody watching this or you're in real estate, team is a pretty common word in the industry. Only it doesn't really mean anything because there's about 1,000 different versions of what a team actually means. So I've actively been changing the language of team to platform. I also identified that in my industry, what society tells me is success is not necessarily my version of success, right? When I'm looking at how people quantify success and extrapolate it to the public, that's their version of what success means to them. Money could be an indicator of success. How about relationships? How about time? How about quality of life? How about how happy my wife is when I get home to see her? How about the legacy that I'm leaving my daughter and how I'm treating my daughter and how my daughter reacts to me? Because again, men have a terrible habit of doing this too, where we get into this cadence that we're working to take care of the family because that's our role, right? Guard, guide, and govern. Yet the one thing that they want, Amanda's actually on stage, Amanda Dahl says this all the time, the one thing that they want is time. She says love is spelled T-I-M-E. So how are you tracking from that perspective? And don't be defined by other people's versions of success. So his number one principle when he got into the business was actually goal and growth setting. So when he got into the business, getting a direction of where he wanted to go, but then also setting long-term and short-term goals so that he could work towards those. He indicated that a lot of times people go through life with no direction or purpose. They kind of just float along and they never really put any thought into what they want to achieve. There was a segment right before this with Ram where he talked about the design aspect of sales and making sure that you're tracking to see, is there an audience for the product you're looking to sell? This is the same thing. You just have to do it with your life. So making sure that you are goal and growth setting and constantly checking in on those. The methodology that I like to use is typically once a year, we do a map and we map the 5 main important things in our life, which would be faith, fitness, family, fun, finances. And then underneath all of those, we kind of track where are we today? We track where do we want to be next year? Where do we want to be a year from then? And then we do exactly what Andy said. We set a short-term goal and a long-term goal. I would say a short-term goal, 60 to 90 days is kind of that magic number where you're going to see whether you actually want to accomplish this thing or not. 30 days is almost a little bit too quick because a month can go by very, very quickly. But as soon as you get to like that 60, 90-day range, if you haven't done it in 60, 90 days, you need to reevaluate your goal and see if it's what you actually want to accomplish. I'll give you an idea of a goal that we're working on right now. So a 60-day goal that we had back in January was to rip apart our entire transaction coordination system from contract to close, the entire process of when you bring a file to Prime, what happens with it every single step of the way, and then seeing who's responsible for what. Are we doing it at 110% capacity? Where are the holes? Where can we fix the opportunities? And we are in February and we're almost done. So we're almost 2 months in. I probably have about 2 more weeks left of that transaction coordination kind of tearing apart to get to that goal. But yeah, it was a super important thing that we had to accomplish and we're tracking to it. I won't go into all my goals and growth because then we'll be here for an hour and I've only got about 15 more minutes. Now we are on Clubhouse at the same time as we're live on YouTube. If you're on Clubhouse, you can actually scroll to the top of the screen, tap the link, come into the live chat. I'll jump into the chat and give some shout outs here real quick. If you're on YouTube, just download the app, come find me and come hang out with Breakfast with Champions. This room has been bananas lately. I walked in the other day and I literally said to the private group chat, I was like, I think I just sneezed and came back, and like the Avengers of Clubhouse are all on stage, just absolute titans of industry. We're just chopping it up and sharing things. Oh, we got a bunch more people in the room. If you're in the room, just hit that share button and get it out to more people. I see Jackie. I see Debbie Dowling. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Amanda Dahl. Yes, love is spelled Time. That is very, very true. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the next 3 principles, and I'm going to jump back in the Clubhouse room. We do some private kind of Q&A and open forum discussion after. Another principle that Andy said really helped him grow was actually public speaking. I was very surprised when I did this slide deck yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I wonder how public speaking was such an important principle for him for growth. And it said it really helped him put himself out there and get taking risks. Right. I don't remember if he mentioned if he did Toastmasters or something along those lines, but there's 1,000 different ways you can get good at public speaking. One way is you can go on Clubhouse and you can put your hand up in rooms and you can talk. Right. And you'll be shocked. Everybody in the beginning gets the sweaty palms and they get really nervous and they're like, I don't know what I'm going to say. They flub their words. I flub my words in my content. You know what I realize? People are so busy in their own lives. They're too busy to care if I'm messing up a word here or there. So you don't need to worry about that, but you do have to put yourself out there in different ways so that that forced attrition makes you grow, right? A muscle doesn't grow without some type of resistance. It's the same thing with mindset, personality, and public speaking. And I bet you I can attest to a lot of people on stage here. I will ask them after when we're going into the Q&A, what was it like for them when they started doing public speaking? I bet you're going to have some fun stories. I'd love to hear from Ramon after. Actually, Ramon, when we go off YouTube, I'm definitely going to ask you about what it was like for you when you started speaking because you have such a beautiful cadence. The number 3 principle, having a routine. I espouse this through and through because if I don't have a routine, I can become very undisciplined. And I'll keep it very simple: a morning routine, a nighttime routine, and then I would say a structure of daily habits would be helpful for you. Now, I'll caveat this by saying you're not going to hit it 100% of the time. So like, don't get down on yourself if for some reason you don't hit your morning routine or you don't wake up on time or you're not hitting it 100% every single day. The self-defeating narratives, they're gone. They don't exist. We are taking that out of your brain. It's no longer a part of it. And instead we're putting in structure and things that you want to do and you want to accomplish. So I'll read you the structure of what my day typically looks like. And I have this, I use an app called Trello. It's a productivity planner. And I have different boards. So I have a board for my personal life, and then I have a board for my business. And then I have different lists in that board. One is goals today. And I have my 5 like moonshot goals that I have at the top. But then here's my structure that I wrote out. And it took me years to get here. So initially it was wake up at 5. Now it's wake up at 4:30. Don't touch the phone. Write down gratitude and goals. Memorize a Bible verse. Move, which is working out or stretching. Plan, which is typically planning my day. So mind sweeping and time blocking. Learning, grabbing a book or a course and learning something or a skill set. Doing communications, emails, balls up, sending out an encouraging message. Mind sweeping, time blocking. Doing emails, delegating. Building, which is keeper time, working on my business. Finder time, which is finding business, going out and actually calling and prospecting. I use a 5-5-5 methodology. So 5 people I know, 5 people I don't know, 5 people I want to know. And if you're curious about how to build those lists of people, we can dig into that in another episode, but it's pretty simple. You can find people everywhere. Then I have a time block for community. So going into the different groups that I'm part of, it could be the real estate groups on Facebook, my YouTube communities, Breakfast with Champions, whatever it's going to be, and engaging with that group. So not just going there and scrolling the feed and hitting like. It's actually commenting thoughtfully on those different groups. Then I have a time block where I create. I typically write, I take photos, or I do some form of content. It could be video on my phone or whatever it's going to be. And these are small time blocks, right? And again, I built this over a very long time, but the structure is very helpful for me. Then I have my family, my relationship. Don't eat any food after 8 p.m. Mind sweep, wind down, stretch, pray, go to bed by 10, and then eat clean and a bunch of other stuff there. The reason I'm giving you that routine, the more I do it, the less I actually have to look at that list. I don't think I've looked at that list in close to 6 or 7 months. I realize I actually have to update a few things in there that I've tweaked over time, but having a routine creates a levity and a lack of me having to worry about, well, like, what do I have to do today? And what are the key things that are going to move my life forward? A lot of those things that I talked about, they transcend into business of like my finder time. Maybe I do have a list of specific people I have to follow up with, but that's not the point. Having a routine where every day between 10 and 11:30, all I'm doing is prospecting, then puts my body and my mind in a position where it knows exactly what it's going to do. So by the time that time comes around, I'm ready to rock. I'm in the mindset. I'm not distracted. I've got my phone. All my internet tabs are closed and I'm just getting to work. Same thing with my content community time and everything else as well. The number 4 principle, and again, this slide deck, I will send it out for free. If you go to the YouTube channel and hit subscribe, it'll be in the links after the video. I think it'll take the team probably to like mid-afternoon to get the slide deck out, but you can have this for free. The 4th principle is he wrote down self-help books. Personal development is really what it was. So Andy started going crazy early on when he was in the industry. He was selling knives for Konikow. Again, you can listen to the podcast. It's fire. But he talks about how he thought he was a weirdo because when other people were, going to Daytona Beach for spring break, he was going to like Tony Robbins conferences. I thought the same thing with me. Like, I really liked working. I don't know why. I always had a million different jobs. I've been a DJ, I've been a barback, I've been a bouncer, I was a butcher, I worked at a fish shop, I was a landscaper, I worked in an auto shop doing high-end tires. And it's like all my friends are out doing their thing. And I was always working, right? And it was really the personal development that he was looking for in these different places that led him to where he is today. So I'd love for people to jump in the chat and let me know some personal development that you have done over the years that have helped you level up. I can tell you for myself, it's being in different spaces, right? Working with Sean Cannell and the Think Media team in the Video Ranking Academy has helped me a lot with my YouTube. Working with the Sirhan team in the real estate space, helping get clarity around my brand, and working with Ryan as a mentor for the last couple of years has been one of the integral reasons why Shannon and I keep growing the business, because we have a community of people that are also looking to develop themselves personally and looking to share. But it's interesting because I also notice when you're in different personal development communities and coaching platforms, be aware of who you are around. Sometimes you're in communities where it is completely just about the leader and they could care less about the people below them. They're not listening to them. They're just focused on what they're trying to accomplish, and they're not helping level up the community, versus the ones that I have found that are really leading by servitude and listening to the issues that are happening within the communities and what issues need to be solved and addressing those. To me, when I'm in the personal development space, when I find those communities, that's where the magic is. Scott McGilvery from the TV show Income Property, longtime friend of mine, he has an investment network called Keyspire. I'm actually speaking at that network all weekend. It's a 3-day event. There's typically over 500 investors that come to these conferences, and think of it like a farmer's market for real estate. So my job as a service provider is bring them off market deals, help them enter our marketplace with a black belt level skill set, and really like provide a white glove concierge service, right? That's what the idea is. If you're a member and you paid for the membership, you get access to some stuff that we do that nobody else does. And it's almost like you're getting an employee. We're running numbers for you. We're finding deals. We're killing deals. We're at properties. We're working with property managers. Like, we are a full blown team for you. The reason I'm bringing this up is it wasn't that in the beginning. When Scott started this network and the membership, I remember going to the first conference and I had a binder of a couple properties completely unprepared. And a whole bunch of us were really new to it. And we're like, we don't even know what this is. We don't know what the members want. We started auditing the members and seeing where their pain points were and trying to solve those pain points. And then Scott and the crew kept leveling up their platform year after year after year. That's where, again, just like this breakfast table, we thought about it as how much food can I bring to the table? I'll go back, get some more. Scott goes back, get some more. The members would come back, get some more, and bring it all to the table. You can really create a community and a mindset around business and growth and attract the right people and the right business. And that's what this video was about. It was really about how to achieve attracting the right people and business into your life, but then also making sure that you're being cognizant of the life that you want to create. So I'm going to actually steal a little bit from my man Ram and indicate that you should be doing a little bit of research first into the market or the life that you want to create, and then engineering it by design. What I will do on a future episode of these segments is I'll figure out a way to get my StreamYard working with a video camera, and I'm probably going to lean on my man Ram because he's here early sometimes to come on live with me and talk about life by design. But thank you so much for spending time with me on the YouTube channel. Hit that subscription button so you don't miss any future episodes. I see Peter Ong, Global Digital Marketeers, Debbie Dowling, so many, Linnell Burns, what's up? Nice to see you too. All hanging out in the chat, but we're going to go back to Clubhouse for the next 15 minutes. We're going to chop it up on this topic, and I'm going to start tossing the mic around, but I'll see you next Friday.